Operation Confidence proudly presents America's Invisible Heroes radio talk show. Tune in weekly on Sundays, 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific Time, with your hosts, Consuelo Mackey, U.S. Army veteran and co-host Matt Davison, announcer Taylor Marcella, and Brooke Gadesi, U.S. Army veteran and entertainment segment host Charles Whitehead, Veterans and Legal segment host, attorney Danielle Sherrod, U.S. Army Veterans and Lifeline for Women Veterans segment host Martha Elena Varela, Veterans in Recovery host Anthony Akinpora, and U.S. Air Force veteran and Incarceration to Success segment host Kevin Lewandowski. For more information or to be a guest on our show, email info@operationconfidence.org.
Okay, well, welcome everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Americans Invisible Heroes, a show dedicated to our veterans and their families. I'd like to first start off by hoping that all of our veterans had a marvelous Veterans Day on Thursday, November the 11th, and also a Happy Marines Day to all of our Marines on Wednesday, November the 10th. So that was Thursday, November the 11th, and Wednesday, November the 10th. Just repeating myself, Charles. But I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. And yes, I'm your host, Consuelo Mackey, longtime hairstylist, fashion designer, and the executive director of Operation Confidence, a grassroots nonprofit organization. And no, I'm not a veteran, but my heart goes out to our American heroes, especially those who are disabled and have experienced some form of homelessness. For those who are new to the show, American Invisible Heroes was established to provide a platform for our veterans to be able to share heartfelt stories, experiences, resources, and challenges, and of course, accomplishments. Now, I'd like to introduce you to our wonderful co-host. By the way, Matt is off for a few more weeks. He's only been able to come on once a month because he's actually writing for a major veterans magazine. So we'll let you know for when he's coming on next month. But for now, we have Charles Whitehead. He's U.S. Army Reserve veteran and a board member. Welcome there, my guy, friend Charles. He's also our engineer. We have Taylor Marcella. She's a board member and an announcer. And we usually have Martha Varela on, but today she's a little under the weather. She's a U.S. Army veteran and actually one of our advisory board members with a weekly show segment called Lifeline for Women Veterans. Lauren Hammond, she's here today. She has a weekly segment called Creative Charities Auction, and she's a sponsor for Operation Confidence. So we're excited about that. Chaplain Wendy Childress, she's a U.S. Army chaplain, and she has a bi-monthly segment called Living Life Completely. And later on in the show, we'll have Ann Montague. She has a bi-monthly show called the Rosie's Movement. I'd like to welcome you all. And by the way, Brooke Gadesi, who's also an announcing a board member, she's a little under the weather. She will be back next week, and we miss you, girlfriend. Welcome, everyone. Please say hello to our viewers and listeners.
Hello,
everyone. Okay, we're going to change our show around a little bit, let Wendy take the lead because she has an amazing guest on today. And we're going to let Taylor do the introduction.
Sure, Connie. Chaplain Wendy Childress is a retired Army chaplain. She is currently a life coach and facilitator who facilitates workshops for family wellness, singles, and more. Her guest today is Clinton Nathan Hendricks Sr. Mr. Clinton Nathan Hendricks served 4 years in the United States Army, born and raised in Louisiana in 1921. He is the father of 3 sons, grandfather of 6, and great-grandfather of 8. Take it away, Wendy.
Good afternoon, everyone. And before I begin, can I please open up with a quick prayer, if you don't mind?
Of course, please do.
Thank you. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you just asking for your presence, your grace, your mercy, and your guidance, Father. We ask that you watch over and heal Martha's family as they deal with the illnesses that they are going through. Father, we ask that you strengthen and heal Mr. Clinton, and we're so thankful that you have him with us today. Father, we just ask for your guidance, and we ask for the workers so that we can continue this work that you've assigned us to do to help the veterans that have so selflessly given of their lives and their time, and the families that have supported them and given also. Lord, we thank you for this day. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. That was
Okay.
beautiful.
And Mr. Clinton, correct me if I'm wrong at any time, but my understanding is that you currently live in Northern California. You were born and raised in Louisiana in 1921 by a single mom. You attended public schools in Louisiana, and you entered the Army during World War II, serving honorably from 1942 to 1946. You were married once, and you had a son, and your wife passed away a few years after that. You married again and had 2 more sons, and was married for 50 years to your second wife, who passed away in 2008. You worked as a civil servant on a Navy base for more than 40 years, and you are still active in your church and community. I understand you are loved by many, and you recently celebrated your 100th birthday on September 8th and had a big shindig with all your family and friends from all over.
Oh,
and
goodness.
Okay, I'm really impressed with this because I was told that you still drive.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we can only hope to be as active as you are at 100. And I'll tell you, this was a blessing. I was volunteering, doing some work for the DAV, and I met his daughter-in-law, and we were talking, and she told me all about you. And I said, I've got to have him on the show. A centurion, he's still here. And when she said you were still up and driving and living and live on your own, I said, oh, please see if he'll come on. Because you would be a special treat to us. So, sir, can you tell us about your time in the military?
Yes, I was born, as you said, I was born and reared in Louisiana.
Okay.
And I migrated to California, and I was called here December the 12th, 1942 to December the 18th, 1942, I was on inactive duty, and I went into active duty on December the 19th, 1942, and I was discharged March the 10th, 1946. And I served several camps in America before I was sent overseas to ETO, known as the European Theater of Operation, under the leadership of General Dwight D. Eisenhower at that time. And I was assigned to General George Patton, and I was in a trucking company called the Red Ball. But since I had infantry training, we could volunteer for infantry duty. And I was in the Battle of the Bulge and the Battle of Central Europe, which was around Antwerp, Belgium, Charleroi, Belgium. And I served in that, successful. I came out without any injuries. And then after that, they wanted me to re-enlist. I decided that I had one son at that time. I wanted to come home and be a civilian, which I did, as I said, March the 10th, 1946.
Wow, what a wonderful story.
Yes, and it's amazing that you remember all of these dates, because
Yes.
I can't remember what I did yesterday sometimes. And you have all these dates. Remember, you're really showing us up, Mr. Clinton. So how was it when you came home and transitioned back into civilian life?
Well, it was a challenge, you know, after I had gone overseas. At that time, we was in a segregated army, and this is why I had to volunteer for infantry duty, and because I had the training. And, you know, a lot of things happened that they brought us back. In fact, we was on the seas for 15 days coming back on a ship from Europe to America. And when we got back, of course, they took us down on a tour, took us through Harlem. Then we came back to the camp and had dinner and what have you. And then we had a flight on a prop plane. And since I was the ranking non-com, I was in charge. We flew from New York to San Diego. Then from San Diego, we were on buses coming to Campbell, to up north, Campbell, California. And it was a lot of challenge, you know, and I did a lot of traveling too, driving in those days. And a lot of time we had to drive all night, all day, because the facilities wasn't for us because of our ethnicity. And you know, it was experienced quite a few things. But nevertheless, with all the difficulties, with all the inaccuracies that have occurred, we still are blessed to be living in a free country in America. And I'm very grateful, and still try to give my support as much as I can, wherever I can. But I want to say this real quick: the roughest times I ever had, and I don't want to be political, were under Republican governor. We had a president named Herbert Hoover, who was a native of California. And I was supposed to be 6 feet, but because of Herbert Hoover, I only made 5 feet 10, because he made things rough for us. But when Franklin Delano Roosevelt came on in 1933, they had a lot of initial PWA, NYA, NYC. I got my high school education through the NYA, National Youth Administration, which was headed by Mary Clyde Bethune from Florida. She was a good friend of Eleanor Roosevelt, who was the first lady of our country at that time. And when I started the school in the Twins, in Louisiana, I had to use secondhand books. They would not allow me, because of my ethnicity, to have new books like the other students, Caucasian students. And I had a lot of challenge, you know. And I said this, and this is why I migrated to California. First time I had a chance to vote for a president was in the state of California, and that was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And I certainly appreciate the leaders that have compassion for those that are less fortunate than the average.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's so wonderful.
And I'm going to ask, Charles, do you have any questions for Mr. Clinton?
I do. I do.
I thought you might.
The question I got is, so why wouldn't they let you be 6 feet?
Couldn't get food.
Because he didn't.
We had to work all day from sun up to sundown for 50 cents, and they would give you the dinner. You had to eat on the back porch. They give you black-eyed peas and cornbread.
No, but I mean, what you said you were 6 feet, but they only list you at 5'10" because
I was scheduled to be 6 feet. I said I only made 5'10" because of lack of nurturing food.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Wow.
I thought maybe
tell
it
the
was
people
something in
now,
the records. They didn't. Okay.
At that time, I could eat everything. I had no restriction. But now I can afford to eat some of the better food, but I have restrictions. I'm not supposed to have them because of my medical condition, cholesterol and sodium.
Whatever it is, you're 100 years old.
100 years old, that's it, you know.
And just absolutely fabulous.
Tell me what diet you eating, I'll kind of hang with it, you know.
You want to ask you, what are you eating?
Because you do not look 100 years old at all.
Look how articulate he is. I mean, my gosh.
And still driving too?
And driving, yeah.
Yeah, still driving, and I'm thankful for that. And this here lately, I've had this affliction with arthritis. Sort of cut down my speed somewhat, but nevertheless, I'm hoping things will work out better for me. And I'm always glad to meet all you young people that's in leadership capacities and how things have improved. And we have yet have a way to go, but nevertheless, we are making some progress.
That is so fabulous.
Yes. And if
You
I
know,
can ask, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
go
Mr.
ahead, Connie.
Clinton, we have Ann Montague on. She represents the Rosies, Rosie the Riveters.
Oh,
You-
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Ann.
Like I
Ann
was excuse me, I was acquainted with some of the people, Rose River workers.
You,
Yeah.
you know, can you all hear me?
yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Charles, our Deacon, what's your name? Is Deacon, right? Deacon,
Yeah.
Clinton. His
we
name is
have-
Clinton.
oh, Clinton, I'm sorry.
Deacon Clinton. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Mr.
I see it. Okay, good. We just interviewed a Black Rosie in Washington, D.C. on September 3rd, who grew up in Louisiana picking cotton. And she worked essentially in a government job in Washington, D.C. So not all of those women were working, riveting airplanes or whatever. I wish I could get you to meet her. She lives with her son, but she just basically just kept saying, every job is important. Every job is important. And we keep trying to stress that as we try to get America to pull together again, to every small piece that people do, so long as it's coming together into a bigger whole, the same goal, we can pull together again. I really believe that. But I'm so
And what
glad
was her
to-
name?
Her name is Hilda McDougald, McDougald.
wow. That's amazing.
So I wanted to ask you this. What has it been like? Because you're 100 years old. So did you start with, you've seen horse and buggies, you've seen the first Ford, the first car. How has that been for you, seeing all of these changes over the decades?
Oh, it has been very impressive. So many things that I never realized in my growing up that I would be able to witness. First of all, the first Black president, Barack Obama.
Mhm.
Second of all, the second vice president, Kamala Harris. And to know that a lot of good leaders like President Biden and many others I could mention, and how some of the leaders put their lives on the line to try to improve our social conditions, like the late Dr. Martin Luther King and like President John F. Kennedy and many others, But it's so wonderful. And I tell people, we're supposed to judge people individually and not group. Just because you have one bad apple, that doesn't mean all the apples are bad. So oftentimes we have been victimized of that because of our ethnicity. And I'm hoping these things can improve, and everybody should have an input, and everybody should be concerned to respect people as human beings, because we all are part of God's creation, regardless to our complexion.
Amen on that.
Amen to that.
That's right.
Amen. Consuelo, did you have any questions that you would like to ask?
I'm just so amazed over here. I just thank him so much for his service and the fact that he's so articulate. And I just want to know what his recipe is.
Because he has found the fountain of youth now, hasn't he?
Yeah, you found it somewhere, so you got to tell us what it is. And the stories are just amazing. I really want to thank you.
Well, the main thing is I put a lot of emphasis on education. The more you know about anything, the better you can appreciate it.
Right.
And then thinking about driving, I learned how to drive on a Model T Ford.
Wow.
We didn't have the shift. We had the levers on the steering wheel, what have. And you had to start all the time. It didn't work on the inside. You had to go outside and crank the car, to get it started. And I drove on gravel roadways. I drove on dirt roads with what we call ruts. If you weren't a good driver, you got a rut, you lose control of the T-Model Ford. And then now I got a couple calls, you know what I mean? I can push the button, a lot of things happen. And I said, Lord, this is just amazing. And then to answer your question about contributing to a long life is I'm very concerned about my salvation. I believe anytime you make good preparation, you should reap good results. And I tell people, and this is why I put a lot of emphasis on education, especially for the young people. I'm not computer savvy like my son, he know all about the computers and things, but when I retired, April the 27th, 1985, the computer was just coming in because I worked for the government. And I didn't get a chance to get all the training that I should at that time, but I could have continued. But anyway, I'm so thankful. This past April the 27th, I've been retired 36 years. I only worked 42 years and 2 months. Both my sons, they passed me. I stopped mentioning how many years I worked because they already passed me, and one of them are still working.
Really?
But anyway, I'm just so grateful and thankful that the Lord has blessed me with longevity.
All
I
right.
don't know. What did you do for the government, sir?
Work in the shipping department. We call it, the Navy term was traffic. We sent supplies and equipment all over the world for all the bases. And I was in charge of that. And
wow.
In fact, I started working for the government in 1946.
Oh,
I was
wow.
making $1 an hour.
Really?
$1 an hour.
Oh my
And
God.
I came out making $25 an hour, which is a small amount now, you know, but
Yes.
that was 1985. And the amazing thing about it, I retired in 1985. 1987, I had to have surgery. And in fact, I was sedated for 14 hours and I was hospitalized, and I came out. And then 2021, the scar tissue called a blockage. I had to go back again and have surgery. And so I've been blessed to come out from both of those surgeries. And I went in yesterday because I have arthritis, and it was around my stomach, below the navel, and my back. But then when it got up here, I got concerned, I said, about the stroke, but heart attack. But they kept me for 7 hours, all the machines and what they have to put on me. Everything came out good. I got to go back tomorrow and for more examination. But anyway, whatever the time comes, I just want to be ready.
Oh.
Well, you know, we will keep you lifted in prayer. And just by the way you talk, I know you're already ready. So you are at peace, and you have definitely made peace with your salvation. So I don't have any concern about you in that area whatsoever. I am going to ask you this, but how many grandchildren? What about your grandchildren? Do you have any great-grandchildren, just out of curiosity?
I have 5 generations. Now I have to count here, but most of them I have been in contact. I am in contact with them and what have you. I'm grateful for that also. And then my second wife, I think they mentioned 50 years. We were married 54 years. And
oh, wow.
My first wife, we were married 11 years. My first wife and I met in high school. I played clarinet in the band, and she was a singer. And that's how we met. And then we got married and what have you. And things worked out nice. And then my second wife, I also met in the education setting. I was going to a Bible college. And we got married in 1955. And in fact, she made her transition 2008, November the 14th.
Oh, wow.
And you said you were a singer. Do you still sing?
He played the clarinet.
No, my
Oh,
wife
she
would
sang
sing.
and you played the
played
clarinet.
I played
Okay.
the
He
clarinet.
did the love tune thing.
That's up Charles Alley. He's a musician as well. So of course he
Yeah.
heard that. So
I was blessed with many things, but the Lord didn't bless me to have a voice under control, regular vibration.
He blessed you with age.
he
And,
Yeah,
did.
he did.
you know,
And wisdom
yes.
and all that good stuff. And
Yes.
served our country. We really appreciate you. You
And-
got to come back, sir.
Yes, yes, you would.
When
We
did you
would
got to
love
let him
have
come back? Tell him we want
You
him
know,
back.
I
He's
would
such a-
love to have you back again in the beginning of the year because you've been a blessing to us, honestly.
he
And
has.
like I said, I was excited when Pat told me about you. It's like I still couldn't get over 100 years old. And she says, yeah, he still drives, he still lives on his own.
Yeah,
She said,
yeah.
I'm like,
That
Well,
is so
fact-
amazing.
he's
fact-
a walking. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
See, I see it. In fact, I count the days. You know, I'm 100 years old, 2 months and 6 days today.
Wow,
Oh,
you down to the days.
All right now.
I mean, the mind is just as sharp. I am in total awe.
I am
And
too.
Yeah.
I really truly appreciate having the opportunity just to talk to you and to be in your presence because we can learn so much from our
Yes,
elders.
we can.
And you are our elder, and sir, we truly appreciate this time with you. And I would love to have you come back on because I know you will have a wealth of knowledge that you can share as you have already shared. And we'll be praying for you and look forward to having you on again if you would be willing to.
Certainly.
Would you come back, sir? Are you affiliated with any of the veteran organizations like the veteran, any of the veteran organizations?
Amvet, Legion.
Yeah, AMVET.
Oh yeah, organizations.
Yes.
Yeah, American Legion,
Yeah, all with the American Legions.
DAV, of course,
Okay,
NAACP.
right.
I'm associated with a lot of political clubs also.
Okay.
Okay.
So with the veteran organizations, do you make any of their meetings or what? Because you drive everywhere.
Yes, I drive. In fact, lately, oh yeah, I'm also a member of North too. Lately, the further I've driven was the Los Angeles, but it is in I work civil service. My wife works civil service. We get a lot of annual leave days, so we used to motor back south every year. We visit the Oklamas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi.
Okay.
And we had people resided there, and we always enjoyed, you know, I enjoy driving and what have you, and now the roadways are better. And in fact, years ago when I first started 46, we didn't have all the wonderful freeways like we have now. You know, we had 2-lane highways, and you had to be very careful, you know, because of having a mishap or accident. And I've been fortunate all those years that I've driven back. I never had a mishap with my automobile. And I try to keep my automobile to par. And I used to drive American cars mostly. I think I drove every car in General Motors, Chevrolet, Pontiac, Buick, Cadillac. And then lately I switched over to Mercedes and Honda.
You go, dude. You got your Mercedes, huh? You deserve it.
He deserves it. Yes,
Right.
that and more.
I bought a Mercedes in 2008, and my wife that passed, she got to enjoy it from January to November when she made her transition.
Oh wow, that was wonderful.
And I still got those. Still got the Mercedes. It's a 2008 S550, but the Honda is 2015 Honda Accord. Yeah.
And I just have to ask one last question. has our government honored you at all for being one of these? Because you're a centurion now. Have they honored you yet? Because if not, we
have to push for that.
make sure to push for that.
Right.
Serving in World War II, and
Yes.
they have. Okay, go ahead.
My two sons gave me a celebration, birthday celebration. As you know, my birthday is September the 8th, and the celebration was September the 18th. And everything worked out nice, and I got a lot of recommendations from the president, Joe Biden. I got also from my Representative Barbara Lee. I got a recognition from her, also from the city of Richmond and the city of Oakland. Now I reside in Oakland, but the church where I worship is in Richmond. So I got that, and then a lot of other promotional enterprises sent me a recognition also, which I highly appreciate. Even though we're trying to make us steal, I still appreciate it.
Right.
Okay.
I think, Wendy, that some of Mr. Clinton's family members are on our show.
Yes, I was going to say, if you didn't notice, yes.
Would you guys make yourself known? And
yes, please introduce yourselves.
They're muted.
You're part of Mr. Clinton's family. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Pat. I'm Pat Hendricks Munson. Clint is my father-in-law, my father-in-law.
That's right. Huh?
And thank you, Pat, for introducing me to your father-in-law, because he's a jewel, and I hope you all treat him as the gem that he is, because it is an honor.
We do. We do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi,
my family members.
My name is Carolyn Hendricks. That's my father. My father.
All right.
In love, but he's my father.
All right.
And I am so proud of all the teachings and learnings that he has first given to my husband, his oldest son, and also to me. I love him so much, and he is so into what's going on. He's not lost. He's not ignorant on anything that's happening in the world today. If you need any knowledge, and especially if you need finances, that's the man.
So he's a financial wizard.
Finances. Yes, he could teach you finances.
Financial information.
Yes, he is so thorough on that. So
that's amazing.
I am proud of him. Glad to have been hosting my sister-in-law, Lorraine, and I hosted his 100th birthday, and it was really an honor to do that.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for coming on and telling us who you are, but we already figured out that he's an amazing person that we want to have back on our show again.
Right. Connie, and just before we end this, let me ask Marilyn, Marilyn, are you a relative?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes,
Marilyn.
I am the granddaughter
of
Clinton Hendricks Sr., and he's my Papa Clint. That's what I call him.
Okay, that's so
I think we all gonna call him Papa from now on, if you all don't mind sharing him with us.
We don't mind.
And we have Clarence Bolton in here, one of the longtime church members.
Okay.
Clarence, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you doing?
Fine.
How's everybody doing? Praise the Lord. Deacon Hendricks.
All right, so
I've been knowing Deacon Hendricks, or he's been knowing me all my life. And as I can recall, I was probably about, I don't know, I might say I might be 9 or 10 when I remember him. But he knows my entire family, from Deacon Harris to Bishop Harris. He knows all of my family members and my mother and our immediate family. So congratulations, Deacon. I didn't make it. I didn't hear about your 100th birthday till afterwards. So congratulations. Good that you still in the land of the living, and we're going to continue to pray for you.
Thank you.
All right.
That's
Okay,
wonderful.
thank you, Connie, for the extra time too.
My pleasure. And there's, did we already acknowledge Marilyn?
Yes, Marilyn spoke, and there's a picture. I'm believing those have to be his grandchildren.
Okay,
And we thank you for sharing those. And
Well,
Carolyn
thank you
spoke,
all.
and Pat and Clarence. So all of his family did speak. So Mr.
Right.
Clinton, we thank you. Papa Clinton, we thank you.
Yes.
We adore you.
We sure do.
wish
You
you
were such an
continued
amazing guest. Thank you.
great
Honored
health.
us. We're so
Yes.
happy to have you. And
Can I
please
say
come
one
back.
more thing before you leave? The picture that Marilyn has, which is his family, the young man up the top, her husband, that's his grandson, and also his pastor.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cute.
oh.
Okay.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, his pastor. So
I don't know who these other two people are. There's Billy's iPhone and a Galaxy. I would assume that's part of your family. Seems like everybody logging on is,
Yeah. Well,
But
we're
this,
just,
we're
yeah,
gonna
Billy
we'll
is
move
his
on, and thank
grandson.
you. We'll have you back again. Thank
yes,
you.
we will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
All right,
Thank
now.
you so much, and
Thank
thank
you,
you all for
Wendy.
sharing him. You're welcome, Pat. Thank you.
Good
All
one.
right, see ya.
See
Okay.
you.
Lauren, it's on you.
Bobby came in. Okay, Bobby.
I'm Lauren Hammond, and my company is called Creative Charity Auctions. I raise money for nonprofits and charities and schools and religious organizations and anyone who is struggling to raise money for medical reasons. We've helped in that response as well. We do silent and live and online auctions, and we do them both. We can start an online auction and end it with the live event. And so we do that to help raise money for any particular mission that the nonprofit or charity has. And I've worked with hundreds of nonprofits over the years. I started my original company about 20 years ago, close to 20 years ago, and it was called Sport Things Then More. And my partner at that time was a former baseball player named Jay Johnstone. And we worked together for close to 18 years. And about 4 years ago, I went out on my own and started Creative Charity Auctions. And we've been helping. We just did a couple of events this week for the veterans. And we do so much with all different kinds of charities. And it's our goal to raise as much as possible for them. And we can do online auctions and then at any time during the year. And so if somebody is really struggling for money at a particular time, a nonprofit, we can do an online auction for them for a week or two, and whatever we can raise goes to them. And so that's our whole goal, is to help as much as possible. We carry sports, music, entertainment collectibles. We have art and jewelry and handbags and home decor and lots of travel, both domestic, international. And we have some fabulous packages from local events, local wine tours, or rafting, water rafting, to trips to Italy and Spain and Germany and all over the country. And we love doing it. It's very rewarding when we can send a charity a nice sized check. It's a win-win. It's a win-win-win-win for the winning bidder, win for the charity, and we win. And it's something that we love to do, and we'll continue to do it. And we're going to continue to bring in new items. We create a lot of our items, and I have vendors, so I'm constantly looking for new things. And just recently, within the last month, we started, we have a store on our website, and anyone can go on there and buy something and donate it to a charity of their choice. Operation Confidence would be wonderful to donate to them for just somebody buying an item. And so we will continue to do that continuously throughout the year. And we're there to help raise money and to help people, raise what they can to help people who are in need. So thank you, Connie. I love
Your
working.
contact information again, please.
I'm sorry?
Can you give us your contact information?
Yes. My email address is, not my email address, my website is Creative Charity auctions with an S.com. And they can look at our store, and if they see anything, they can email me or call me, and I will help them find an item that they are interested in. My office number is 818-840-1200.
Repeat that.
818-840-1200.
And you forgot something very important, that Creative Charities has been wonderful for Operation Confidence. You all have been at many of our fundraiser events and have been just absolutely fabulous. A lot of the donations.
We enjoy and love working with Operation Confidence. And I know next year there'll be an event, and
we got one planning. Yeah, I'm excited.
And so that's and if anybody wants to donate to Operation Confidence, they can come to our store, buy something, or if they just want to donate, they can do that as well. So we're so happy to be involved and to help. So thank you, and I'm happy to be here. And thank you,
Lauren. I know that we understand that you have to sign off now due to a very busy schedule. You got some pre-booked auctions about to happen, so we understand, and we're not going to make you stay. So we're going to have you on for next Sunday, and then you'll show some of your amazing auction items, right?
I will do that. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
Don't go.
I have a lot to do. But it was so nice seeing everyone, and thank you.
Okay, see you next week.
See you next time.
Right.
Okay, Taylor, it's on you to introduce Anne.
Sure, Connie. The Rosies are the surviving women known as Rosie the Riveters, who worked on the home front for the war effort during World War II. Anne says, we encourage people to find them, learn what they did, and get Americans to them now, though they are above 90 years old. We do projects that leave a lasting record of their legacy. Each Rosie is different, and each story has the human touch, thus their legacy on what they did in World War II. And please introduce your guest for today, Miss Lenora Brill.
Well, my problem is I don't see Lenora. I saw the email come in, or excuse me, I saw her caregiver come in. Her caregiver is Brenda, and she just was here for a few minutes. Then I tried to call her, and I'm not getting an answer. So maybe we should postpone it. What do you think?
Yeah, we won't have a choice, but you do have some information that you can read about her. We sure wish she had.
The other thing we might want to do, and I think this is probably more appropriate, is Charles, you know the PSA that you always show. This is Buddy Kernut.
Yes.
Buddy died yesterday, Thursday morning.
Wow.
So I thought maybe you would just go ahead and show that, and let me then tell you a little bit about Buddy as a memorial. Is that all right with you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Can you pull it up without a whole lot of preparation? Buddy grew up in Buffalo, New York. She had no mother. Mother abandoned the two children and the father. The father worked on the railroad, so she almost had no adult supervision. Very responsible, very positive person. And she made P-40 airplanes in Buffalo, New York. After about 2 years, she got tired of it because they kept crashing on the side of Curtiss Wright airplane factory. And she kept worrying that maybe it was the work that the women were doing. In other words, they were always fearful that they were not going to be able to do the quality work. And if they didn't do quality work, that men would die. So she went to work for the Coast Guard. They trained her as a medic. And in the process of that, she would take her volunteer times or take her weekends and volunteer at a local Veterans Administration hospital. And she met a veteran who'd lost a leg and part of a foot. And he they basically fell in love, but there was really honestly not that much way to communicate. So after the war was over, she went back to the Buffalo area, and lo and behold, she's a nurse in a hospital, gets working the 3 to 11 shift, and she goes down to check out, and there's a 6'2" tall fellow standing there, and who comes through the back door. Well, they were on the 3rd floor. So she said, looking at all the women, who is that? And she'd never seen him standing upright. And he said, I'm Earl Canute. I've come to marry Buddy. So she left right then, and they drove to Charleston, West Virginia. They looked up a name in the telephone directory for a minister. The first minister was Ashworth. They called him, and he said, sure, I'll marry you. So it was late evening. I think it was May. I can't remember the date. And anyway, they went there, and it was a funeral home. So she got married in a funeral home.
Oh my goodness. How old was Buddy when she passed?
97.
97. Wow.
And she has been so helpful to us over many years. I interviewed her first in 2010. She's in our documentary film. She helped to make the park. She helped to name the building, on a government building in America named Rosie the Riveter. And I couldn't possibly list all the things she's done. And then about 4 years ago, she started to fade. And we knew with her last birthday that might be the last birthday. It was June 21st. One of the reasons I'm mentioning that, Consuelo, is you had a guest last week who's going to have some sort of special event on June 21st. And we hoped that Buddy would make it till then, but she did not.
Yeah, that was a
So she passed in the night before last. Yeah.
talking about Make Music Day.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
June 21st every year. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
The
wow.
baby,
Video. You want me to
Since
show the
we've
video?
lost- since we've
Yeah.
lost.
Show her a video. We're going to show her a video.
Okay,
Show the
good.
video, and then you can continue, because
Okay, good.
you are a wealth of information as well.
I am Buddy Canute, a former Rosie the Riveter. I riveted P-40 pursuit planes during World War II. We did our part back then. Now, can you step up and help the Rosies pull America together again? Please call 304-776-4743. That is 304-776-4743.
Wow. Well, she's very precious. She's done a lot for the Roses.
She was so loved that she lives on a side street in a modest neighborhood in a town called St. Albans, West Virginia. And the fire department loved her so they would go up and down the streets on her birthday and any special holiday with a fire truck ringing the bell and carrying on. And everybody loved her. She really was a special person and very positive. With the kind of childhood she had, and then her brother was a prisoner of war at the Battle of the Bulge, and it goes on. You would think she would be discouraged, but an important part of her story is her husband was disabled physically and spiritually. And he would wake up at night and scream, the Japs are in the closet and that type of thing. He had seizures. It was really hard. And then at some point, he just basically said, it's time I get well, and I got well. So she, it's a pattern in many of the Rosie stories that they took care of men who were really hard to take care of. And there was no help with, no such thing as PTSD or no social recognition of what the men went through after the war.
Wow. Well, hopefully your guest next time will be able to, that you have on today will be able to come on
right
your next show. But we want to thank you about Buddy, precious Buddy.
Thank you. Precious. Yes, precious.
We're really gonna miss her. She's done a lot for the Roses.
She surely has.
Okay, well, we're gonna move on now. Charlie, we're gonna change the script a little bit. I want you to tell us a little bit about who is Operation Confidence. And then we're gonna move on to Taylor and your hot news and wind it down. And Billy, we want to see who Billy is. Billy, are you one of the guests of
Clinton.
Mr. Clinton? Woohoo. Okay, Billy has it on mute. He'll come back on. But anyway, you ready, Charles?
All right. Who is Operation Confidence?
I don't know. Who is Operation Confidence?
All right. Before we show the video, I'd like to tell our viewers that Operation Confidence just didn't start with a radio talk show. We are an established 501c3 nonprofit organization that has been in the community for several decades. I don't know who that is, but it's not me.
Me either.
Operation Confidence began the organization by providing wraparound services for individuals with disabilities that included job preparation, dress for success workshops, inclusive job fairs, partnering with Fortune 500 companies, community organizations, as well as government agencies. Operation Confidence also created mentoring workshops and programs as well, hosted school assemblies, presentations hosted by their positive redirection team. Now, who is Operation Confidence? Let's go to the video. Give me a sec. And I'm gonna share this with you guys.
No sound.
Hold up, let's start it over. All right.
Let's start it over.
My bad.
You in your car?
I'm gonna start it over.
4,000 individuals with disabilities to find gainful employment and or independent living. It's the only salon in the nation that provides beauty and professional grooming services to individuals with disabilities, as shown on NBC.
A group in Los Angeles has spent the last 25 years trying to get people with disabilities back into the workforce. It's a labor of love for the volunteers, but as Today in LA's Kelly Mack reports, the hardest part of the job is getting employers to notice.
The Magic Comb on Fairfax Avenue in Los Angeles may appear at first to be like any other beauty salon, but look closer and you see most of the customers are in wheelchairs, and all of the styling, spritzing, and shaping going on here is about jobs, not about vanity. It's all part of Operation Confidence, a program started 25 years ago by Consuela Mackey, who has made it her life's work to help people with disabilities re-enter the workforce.
Regardless of how well you are educated, you will not get into a job if you come in there scrubby.
It starts at the office of Operation Confidence in Tarzana. Consuela Mackey counsels people with disabilities from blindness to paralysis on the ins and outs of job preparation, from putting together a resume to arranging transportation to the job site.
We try to research and find companies that have openings for them.
Gina Arnold uses a wheelchair. She is getting help from Operation Confidence. Chris James was in a similar situation. He is visually impaired. Before going out on a job interview, Consuela Mackey brings her clients to the Magic Comb, not only to get hair styled by senior students from Universal College of Beauty, cosmetics applied by professional makeup artists, and they customize grooming aids for people with limited range of motion.
We'll take an actual comb and bend it to fit the grasp of a person so that they can hold that comb.
We're like anybody else. We're a part of the community. We need some adaptive equipment to get around.
You know, life is all about finding inner peace. You can make all the money in the world. You can travel all over the world. You can meet some of the greatest people in the world. But bottom line, it's all about inner peace. The peace that
so much for sharing that with us. So,
all right.
Thank you. So that gives you a little idea of who Operation Confidence is. So our viewers and listeners will know a little bit about us. Is anybody on mute? Hello. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're moving right along. And Charles, you got some hot news. I'm sorry. We have Taylor. She's going to tell us about what she has to get informative information. Going to go to hot news and wind the show down.
Hold up now. Let me finish up the Operation Confidence. It was in 2009.
Okay.
Heine discovered a large encampment of veterans living out of their wheelchairs on the streets of Skid Row. That's the garment district, and it's only a block away from where she was purchasing fabric for an adaptive sewing class. Many of those veterans were still wearing portions left of their military uniform, while others had tattered pieces left of the American flag proudly on the back of their broken down wheelchairs. Heine was shocked and hurt to see that our American heroes were suffering. They had no water, food, medical supplies, shelter, nothing. It was at that time that Operation Confidence extended the program to include veterans who are disabled and have experienced homelessness. Now you can go on.
Okay. So as I shared with you, that was how Operation Confidence extended its program to include our disabled veterans. And today we're working hard to provide shelter, housing, resources, and all kind of goodies for those American heroes, especially those who've experienced homelessness and have a disability. So we want you to get involved. So anyway, moving right along because we're going to wind down the show. Taylor, you want to take it from here?
Sure, Connie. Wheelchair etiquette. Here are some ways of interacting with wheelchair users. As a wheelchair user, I'd like to inform our veterans as well as civilians that wheelchairs are more available today, mainly because more people who have trouble walking or standing are opting to use a manual or power chair as their primary mobility aid. As for myself, I use a manual wheelchair. With my lifestyle, I'm able to fold it up, take the wheels off, put them in the car, and get up and go. But there are some important tips to keep in mind when you are around someone with a manual or a power wheelchair. The following are some important tips to keep in mind when interacting with a wheelchair user, whether it is a stranger or a friend. Don't assume. Don't make assumptions about why a person is using a wheelchair. Many, if not most, wheelchair users are not paralyzed and can get up if they need to. Wheelchairs may be used to avoid overexertion, to relieve back pain, or by individuals who cannot walk for extended periods of time. That doesn't make them totally disabled. In addition, don't assume that the person can't understand you, can't hear, and needs your help. Honestly, that's happened too. In other words, don't assume. Try instead to view wheelchair users as what they are, regular people who happen to be using a different tool to get around. Speak directly to the wheelchair user. Don't disrespect a wheelchair user by speaking to the caregiver instead of them, especially not about them. Just because their legs or back doesn't function as well as yours doesn't mean their brain is any less capable than yours. Don't touch. Never touch a wheelchair or a wheelchair user without a direct invitation to do so. It is both demeaning and rude. Most wheelchair users consider their wheelchair as an extension of their own body, so avoid leaning on, pushing, or otherwise handling their chair without their explicit permission. Don't use our parking spots or restroom stalls, even if it's just for 5 minutes, even if there are no wheelchair users around. You don't know when one will show up and desperately need the convenience you are needlessly robbing them of. Sit down for long conversations. Don't make the wheelchair user crane their necks for long periods of time so that they can speak to you. Take a seat and let the conversation flow more naturally. Charles?
Wee-hoo.
Wee-hoo.
That's what I engineered.
I got you covered. Wee-hoo.
Wee-hoo.
Top 5 disability etiquette mistakes. If we're not used to dealing with disabled people, we may feel awkward when we come across someone with a disability. We may not know how best to help them, and we might cause offence without meaning to.
How did you come in? A train, bus?
I drove, actually.
Oh, well done. You have your car modified so you can drive it?
Yes, I had it especially shrunk to fit.
A lot of the time, we worry unnecessarily. For example, it's perfectly alright to say "I don't see why" when talking to a blind or visually impaired person. But there are some common mistakes that non-disabled people make when dealing with disabled people. And here are 5 of the most common. Number 1. Taking a blind or visually impaired person's arm.
Would you like me to guide you to the refund desk? We can sort it out there.
Thank you.
Would you like to take my elbow?
Great.
Most people actually prefer to take your arm, not the other way around. So don't grab a person to guide them. Instead, offer your arm if they need it, and be sure to warn them of any obstacles.
If you'd like to give me your hand, I'll put it on the back of the chair for you.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Number 2. Shouting at someone with a hearing impairment.
You got to give it a good thumb. It gets stuck.
Shouting doesn't make us easier to understand. In fact, it distorts our faces, and it can make it harder for people with a hearing impairment to lip read. So just speak at your normal speed and volume and make sure that the person can see you.
It's broken. You're gonna have to go down to the second floor. There's another machine there.
Number 3, talking to guide dogs before their owners.
People always ask me where my dog is. Where's your dog? They stop me in the street and ask me where my dog is. It's bizarre.
We all love dogs, but it's rude to speak to and fuss over a guide dog before addressing its owner.
Oh, he's lovely. What's his name?
Fang.
Fang.
I'm only joking, it's Malcolm, really.
So always talk to the person, not the dog. Number 4, standing up when talking to a wheelchair user. A wheelchair user will soon get a stiff neck from looking up at someone who's standing, so try to get down to a similar level. They won't think you're being condescending, and they'll be much more comfortable. Number 5, assuming you know how to help.
It's electric.
We may not always be the best judge of how to help someone who's disabled, so if in doubt, just ask.
Oh, sorry, did I get you?
No, it's okay, I'm fine.
I knew I shouldn't have had that last vodka.
Learn the practical steps you need to take when serving disabled customers and working with disabled colleagues with disability confident training from Skill Boosters.
Thank you. Great information. Thanks a lot for that. We needed to know that. People just don't know how to interact with individuals with disabilities. Okay, so on you, Mr. Hot News Charles, as we wind it down. Can't hear you, muted.
I had to get the video stopped first. You know how YouTube is. So, all right. Hot news. All right. All of this stuff we've been had today is hot news. So, you know, this is the end of the hot news, or the part of the
Wasn't Mr.
hot
Clinton
news.
amazing and also
Yeah, he
and
was. I was going to ask him if he was a Uber driver. I'm like, shoot, all the stuff you doing, man, you know, shoot, are you driving for Lyft or Uber or anything? You know, just to keep busy? You know,
yeah,
so,
we got to have him back again. And knowledgeable on finances, you know, we got to hear him what he has to tell us on that.
Yes.
And
yes,
I wanted to ask him if he did financial courses at the church or something for the congregation, because we need it.
Yeah, for sure. Are you located near him?
No, he's up north, so I'm in Southern California.
Okay,
but
so he has to do
will-
something on Zoom since he's familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
Teach us all what to do. Make sure you
Yes.
ask him for sure.
I am.
Okay, let him know he got some classmates,
absolutely.
some students. Okay, great. All right, Charles, it's on you.
All right, hot news. History of the wheelchair basketball. Now, this kind of relates to me in so many ways. Wheelchair basketball has been a part of the Paralympics since the first games in Rome in 1960. In 1975, the first Gold Cup championships were held in Bruges, Belgium. Now called the World Championships, this event is held every 4 years. The women's first World Championship was held in Saint Wheelchair. Okay, there's something missing there, but that's okay. It was held in 1946 when many young men returned from World War II. Okay, let's just do this. Wheelchair basketball began in 1946 when many young men returned from World War II, paralyzed and used wheelchair for mobility. The first games were played at Veterans Administration Hospital in California and Massachusetts. The sport spread across the nation to VA hospitals in Boston, Chicago, Memphis, Richmond, and New York. The National Wheelchair Basketball Association was created in 1948 with 6 teams. All teams were members of the Paralyzed Veterans of America and were operating with VA hospitals, from the VA hospitals. A team from Birmingham, California toured the nation in 1948. From this tour, the first team outside of the VA hospital was created in Kansas City. In April of 1949, students from the University of Illinois formed and hosted the first National Wheelchair Basketball Tournament. The Kansas City Pioneers were the first NWBT champions in 1949. The St. Louis Rams won the NWBT for the next 3 years. Wheelchair basketball expanded into an international sport when the Montreal Wheelchair Wonders of the Canadian Paraplegic Association were invited to participate in the 6th National Wheelchair Basketball Tournament in 1954. The international movement gained momentum the following year when the Pan America Jets journeyed to England to competed in National Stoke Mandeville Games, the year the U.S. wheelchair basketball team won the international championships. As the years passed, more and more teams were developed and members within the association increased. The expanding number of teams led to more conferences and a change to the way teams qualified for the NWBA. The top 2 teams from each regional tournament advanced to the NWBT, the tournament. In 1973, the qualifying structure was altered to provide the emergence of 4 sectional tournaments. The winner from each sectional advanced to the national tournament. This Final Four tour was a showcase even for the sport. The first intercollegiate game was played in 1970. The Central Intercollegiate Wheelchair Basketball Conference was formed in 1978, following the first intercollegiate tournament in 1977. Their mission was simply to address the unique needs, interests, and abilities of the student athletes while maintaining active membership in the NWBA. Nowadays, wheelchair basketball has spread to every continent and is now an integral part of all regular international wheelchair games. The Pan American Games, the European Games, the Far Eastern, as well as the South Pacific Games. Wheelchair basketball has been a part of the Paralympics since the first games in Rome in 1960. In 1975, the Gold Cup Championship was held in Bruges, Belgium, now called the World Championships, and this event is held every 4 years. The Women's World Championship was held in Saint-Étienne, France in 1990. Now, this much I know. Wheelchair basketball started in Long Beach. You know, that's a fact. You can Google that. It's not on here right now, but I can tell you that's where it started out at the VA. So
okay. And you have some history with wheelchair basketball, weren't you?
I do. You know, I do. I used to
You
play.
played?
I played, and I have some. Actually, I have some pictures here. Let me show you. Where is Chuck? Let me just get away from this. Okay, let's do this. Boom. Let's do this. Bam. Let's do this. Here we go. Oh, not showing. Let me stop it. Start it again. Maybe it's hiding behind something. Let me close this. There it is. Can you guys see that?
Yeah. That's
Okay,
you.
this was me in 1987 at Rancho Los Amigos. That was the year I got hurt. First year, number 11. I'm a double ace, so you can't lose with that.
Okay.
This was me coaching the Long Beach Flying Wheels from NWBA, and you know, we had a pretty good team. This was in the 80s or the 90s. This is me. Here I am. I was coach of the Los Angeles, the Clippers wheelchair basketball team for many years. We actually took our Long Beach team and merged it with the Clippers, and that's where we are. And so that's me. I wasn't a player. I was the coach, but you know, we used to play at the Clipper games at halftime, and so that's what that was. And I was also a like I said in one of our shows before, I was a wheelchair referee, high school basketball.
Right.
And I could never do official wheelchair basketball because I was a coach and a player. But once I retired from coaching and playing, I would do like summer tournaments, you know, things like this. And so, you know, like I said, I refereed for many years, and these courts were small, so you know, being a referee, you have to try to be out of the way, and you know, and of course, you know, I was called rolling ref. That was me, you know. Me, I got to have a name for everything. And
that's cute.
Man, this was probably, you know, I don't know, 25 years ago, 20 years ago, somewhere in that range. And yep.
All right.
Those were the days.
You've done a lot.
I've done a lot, and I'm doing a lot, and I enjoy
And gonna
life.
continue doing a lot.
Absolutely.
Okay. So now we're about to close out now. We want to thank our hosts and our amazing guests coming on today. And we're going to be back again next week. You want to take it from here, Taylor, and give our reminders, information?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to remind our viewers and listeners about our amazing advertisement rates. We have 20 and 30-second advertisement slots available. Please email info@operationconfidence.org. Again, info@operationconfidence.org for more information, and visit Operation Confidence's website at www.operationconfidence.org resource page for some amazing resources. Also, check out our online store on our website. All items sold, such as t-shirts and sportswear, sold 100% goes directly to Operation Confidence Housing Workforce Development Building Fund. I would also like to inform our viewers and listeners about Amazon Smile. When making your next purchase on Amazon, please go to Amazon Smile and type in Operation Confidence in the Choose Your Organization donation box. Amazon will make a small donation to Operation Confidence.
Okay.
I would like to inform our listeners and viewers about Operation Confidence Positive Redirection Team, a group of male and female veterans who are mentors, having overcome similar challenges and situations, transitioning back into mainstream society. To be connected or become a team member, email us at info@operationconfidence.org. Also, we are excited to inform our listeners and viewers about Operation Confidence Combat Boots and Lace Women Veterans Mentoring and Creative Arts Group. To get involved, please email info@operationconfidence.org. Please give feedback on the importance of our women veterans to get involved with the most needed group.
All right. Thank you so much. And as always, we want our viewers and listeners to know that purpose for our radio show is to raise awareness about the urgent need to provide resources, services, and of course, stable permanent housing for our veterans, especially those with a disability and have experienced homelessness. So to get involved with our grassroots efforts, please send us an email at info@operationconfidence.org. That's info@operationconfidence.org. We want to thank everybody for being on the show today. And Wendy, we want to thank you for our amazing 100-year guest. And Anne, we want to thank you as well. And all our other wonderful guests that we've had on today, and co-hosts, of course. And we'll be back next week. Charles, will we be back next week?
We'll be back.
We'll be back. Thank you so much. Take it away. Bye, Taylor.
All right,
Bye,
y'all.
Ann.
Gotta
Bye,
give y'all a
Wendy.
little,
We got to do Charles with the finger boo.
There you go.
We love it. Thank you.
Long Beach, PVA, California, chapter USA. The city by the waterfront, where the veterans work and play. Long Beach, PVA, California, chapter USA. The city by the waterfront, where the veterans work and play. For more information or to be a guest on our show, email info@operationconfidence.org.
Bye.